Thousands of Alaskans' Medicaid benefits may be at risk.
It depends on what a judge decides in a lawsuit against Governor Walker. KTVA 11's Lauren Maxwell was in court today for oral arguments. And Lauren, what is this case about?
Well, what it's not about is whether expanding Medicaid coverage, which the governor announced that he was doing back in February, was a good idea or a bad one. The issue is whether he had the legal authority to accept federal funds to expand Medicaid without a vote of the legislature.
Not wavering a minute on this. This is the right thing to do.
Governor Walker said all along expanding Medicaid was the right thing to do. Today in an Anchorage courtroom, his attorneys argued it was also the only legal thing he could do.
And the notion that the governor is claiming this vast authority to do whatever he wants for the Medicaid program is really just a straw man. It's not what's at issue in this case.
State attorneys say the governor was required by the Affordable Care Act to accept federal funds to put more Alaskans on the Medicaid roll. Attorneys representing the Legislative Council, which brought the lawsuit, don't agree.
The legislature knew there were groups that you don't have to cover, and it didn't want to cover those groups automatically.
They say expansion wasn't a legal requirement. It was a choice that wasn't the governor's to make.
However you're going to interpret this statute, additional groups may not be added without the approval of the legislature.
But the state says even when legislators had the chance to vote, they chose not to.
The legislature didn't take any action. In fact, it never brought the specific Medicaid statutes to a floor vote. So the legislature knew what the administration's interpretation was and didn't do anything about it.
Judge Frank Fiffner said he might consider holding off his decision until after the current legislative session ends, giving lawmakers another chance to vote on Medicaid reform and expansion.
So that the voters will know whether they support or don't support Medicaid expansion, so that the voters can take those stand up and be counted views into effect in the ballot box.
But in the end, he agreed to make a ruling sooner rather than later, although he cautioned it might not be available until late March.
Now, the Medicaid expansion took effect in September. The state said as many as 40,000 Alaskans could be eligible for it. So far, about 8,000 have actually signed up.
Now, Lauren, if the judge sides with the Legislative Council, what would happen to people who have those benefits?
Well, they could lose their benefits, but really it is up to the legislature because they have the power to decide what the state's Medicaid program will look like.
All right, thanks, Lauren.